Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to welcome you to the Business Utility Subcommittee. Today is Tuesday, March 19, 2024. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Mr. Clerk, can you take the roll, please?
Representative Alexander, Burkhart, Clemens, Freeman, Hale, Holsclaw, Johnson, Marsh, Thompson, Vaughn, Vital, Zachary, Chairman.
Here.
Chairman, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Members, before we get started today, do we have any personal orders? Representative Vital, you recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I just want to welcome for Ag Day the young farmers from Southeast Tennessee. They're back there, Emily Hyde. These folks operate farms in Sequatchie Valley and Grundy County and Marion County and Hamilton County and are the next generation. So we're very proud of them. Thanks for being here. Young families.
Any other personal orders? If not, we do have a few housekeeping items. Item number 2, that's House Bill 2823, is off notice. And item number 3 on the special calendar, House Bill 2646, has been withdrawn. And members, that brings us to the regular calendar, and we're at item number 1. That's House Bill 2633 by Representative Bricken. We have a motion. We have a second. Representative Bricken, I don't see any amendments, so you are recognized on your bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. This bill is a little bit unusual, and I never thought in my life I'd be bringing a bill that possibly could raise $100 million in fees on Tennessee businesses. But this bill is here, and the genesis of it is when y'all all know about the franchise tax adjustments that Tennessee has to make dealing with the franchise tax, doing away with the property component of the franchise tax. That's going to cost somewhere around $300 or $400 million reduction in revenue. So in consultation with the chairman of Finance Committee, Mrs. Hazelwood, I said, well, what about raising the annual report fee through the Secretary of State's office to offset the loss of the franchise tax? And we concluded that was maybe a good idea, maybe not. But so anyway, I put this legislation together. I think it raises some issues. Again, it's kind of the last piece of legislation I thought I'd ever be carrying, but I'm here. And I would like this committee to kind of, at the request of the chairlady, to keep it alive. I can certainly comfortably take it off notice anytime in the future, or it could be voted down anytime in the future. But the annual filing fee, if you know, every corporation LLC files an annual report, and the annual filing fee currently for regular for-profit corporations has been $20. Just interesting, that fee has not been adjusted in over 25 years. So that's just another kind of a point of interest. LLCs, PLLCs, and all those have annual filing fees, $300 up to $500. So anyway, this bill can be adjusted, amended based on the wishes of not only this committee or future or finance committee. It currently raises all these fees to even $500. It might be $200, might be $100. I'm just trying to keep it alive so the finance people might have it in their quiver to use. And I don't know if that works for this committee, but that's how I'm pitching it. So there you go.
Thank you for that explanation. And Chairman Vaughn, you recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And to my good friend from Coffee County, might I suggest that you take this off notice, and then if we need to reopen the subcommittee in the future, you could perhaps place it back on notice. The subcommittee's opening would be at the discretion of our chairman. And if it gets to that point, it's an all hands on deck, then that to me seems like the process to use here, because I will be unable to support this bill at the current time and in its current standing. But if you wanted to keep it in your back pocket, take it off notice, and if it turns into a situation where it's all hands on deck, then if that's what the finance committee would like to do, then we'll take it up with them. But that would be my suggestion. But if you want to vote it today, I would just understand the temperature of the room. It's
Understand, I've not worked this very hard.
Sponsor, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And the chairman is providing some wise advice. So now that y'all have heard it, thank y'all for letting me pitch it. I'll be glad to take this off notice.
Without objection, House Bill 2633 is off notice.
Thank you.
Members, that brings us to item number 3, and that is House Bill 351 by Representative Hardaway. And I don't see him. In fact, I've never seen him in here actually on this bill. I think maybe he's asking us to dispose of it. I don't know, but let's roll this 1, 2, 3 spaces. And that brings us to item number 4, House Bill 1811 by Representative Alexander. We have a motion. We have a second. Representative Alexander, I show an amendment. Can you confirm the drafting code that you're showing?
This is House Bill 1811, and the amendment is
You turn your microphone on, Rebecca.
009953.
Let's try a different drafting
Okay,
code.
what have I got? Hang on a minute. Okay, I'm sorry. Stuck to the page. 014349.
That's what I'm showing. Can I get a motion in second? We have a motion. We have a second. Representative Alexander, do you want to explain your amendment, or you want to go ahead and put it on there? Does it make the bill?
Let's put it on there.
Okay. Members, we're voting to put drafting code 14349 on the bill. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. The ayes have it. Representative Alexander, your bill is amended and you're recognized for explanation.
Okay. What this bill does, it authorizes the seller of a guaranteed pre-need funeral contract to keep the interest that accrues on the contract after payment is made for the merchandise and the services set forth in the contract if the contract is funded by a prearrangement insurance policy, which is like an annuity, or an irrevocable pre-need funeral trust. It requires the seller of the contract to disclose the disposition of all interest earned on such contracts when the contract's signed. So can I put this in layman terms for everyone?
That'd be
Okay.
great.
All right. When you sell a pre-need, you either sell it 2 ways. You either sell it with an insurance policy or you sell it with a trust. When it's a guaranteed contract or a guaranteed pre-need, that means, let's just say you went and made a pre-need for your mother and she didn't die for 10 years. And obviously merchandise, the price of merchandise has gone up in 10 years, but if it's guaranteed, that funeral home eats that cost. Okay. And they give that family what they contracted with the funeral home for. All this is saying, if you sell it in an insurance policy, you get a commission up front. So this is just allowing the people that are doing trust, if there's any leftover money, and in the 40-some years my husband and I were in the funeral home business, there was never any money earned on these annuities. So we're not trying to get rich, and I'm not even in the funeral business, so it doesn't matter to me at all. But anyway, that's what it just allows. Does that make sense?
Thank you for that explanation, sponsor. Members, do we have any questions for the sponsor of the bill? Seeing none, we're voting to send House Bill 1811 as amended to full commerce. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. The ayes have it. Representative Alexander, your bill moves to full commerce, and we're moving to item number 5, which is also by Representative Alexander, and that's House Bill 2173.
Okay.
We have a motion, we have a second, and Representative Alexander, I'll show an amendment on that one as well.
01347.
Read that one more time.
0144347.
That's what
Sorry.
I'm showing as well. Members, can I get a motion and second? We have a motion, we have a second, and let's go ahead and put that on the bill. Members, we're voting to put drafting code 14347 on the bill. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. The ayes have it. Representative, you're recognized on your bill as amended.
Okay. When we were involved in the funeral business and you sold a pre-need, you also had to tell the customer, let's just say that customer had just written you a check for $10,000 for a funeral. You also had to tell that customer, we need you to write another check, a separate check for $20. That goes to the state. It is they called it a protection plan. Well, we found out there was no protection in that plan. And so it was really for administrative cost. If a cemetery or a funeral home went out of business, it would pay for the lawyers to close that business out. And so what I wanted to do is change the name of that fund because I think we have to be transparent. It's not an indigent fund. It's not a protection plan. What it is, it's a pre-need funeral state administrative fund, and that's what we're calling it. So it changes the name. We also lowered it to $10 versus $20.
All right. Thank you for that explanation, sponsor. Members, do we have any questions for Representative Alexander? If not, we're voting to send House Bill 2173 as amended to full commerce. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say no. The ayes have it. Representative Alexander, you got another bill going to full commerce. And that brings us to item number 6, which is also by Representative Alexander, and that's House Bill 2910. We have a motion. We have a second. Representative Alexander, I show an amendment. Can you verify the drafting code?
Yes, 015548.
That's what I'm showing as well. Can we get a motion in a second? We have a motion. We have a second on the amendment. Let's go ahead and put that on there. Members, we're voting to put amendment 15548 on the bill. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say no. The ayes have it. Sponsor, you are recognized on your bill as amended.
Okay. The purpose of this bill is for transparency and for us as a state to know what the $800 million that is going out in grants from the Broadband Equity Access and Deployment Program, how that implementation is being done. And so the bill states that beginning January 1, 2025 and ending January 1, 2029, all recipients of the Broadband Equity Access and Deployment Program grants from the departments that have received other state or federal funding to provide broadband internet access services in this state shall submit a report to the department by April 1 and October 1 of the state each year that contains a list of locations for which the recipient received such other state or federal funding to expand broadband access in that state that remains unserved in the areas that remained unserved as of the date of such report. The report must also include the date by which the recipient plans to get those locations served. They've got a lot of money out there, and we need to know when they're going to finish the project that they're getting the money to finish. And that concludes my bill.
Sponsor, I appreciate the explanation. And for that, just so the committee knows that the sponsor and I did meet with all the stakeholder groups out there and came up with a pretty good amendment that she's got there that meets the needs of everyone involved. And I appreciate, Representative Alexander, your willingness to work with all those different groups. Members, do we have any questions for the sponsor? If not, let's go ahead and vote to send House Bill 2910 as amended to full commerce. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. The ayes have it. Representative Alexander, you got 3 bills coming up in full commerce next week. Congratulations.
Thank you. I know y'all are excited about seeing me again.
All right. I do see Representative Hardaway, and we did roll him a few spaces. So let's go ahead and pick up item number 3, members. That's House Bill 351 by Representative Hardaway.
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. And Representative Hardaway, I do see an amendment.
Yes, sir, and that's a good amendment. That amendment takes the obligations, mandatory obligations that were in the original bill for ECD out.
What's a drafting code on that, Representative?
That's a very good question, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I've got 006147.
How about 6147? Does that sound good?
That
sponsor?
sounds like
Okay.
it.
Do I have a motion and a second on the amendment? Second. We have a motion, we have a second on the amendment, and you've explained that. Let's go ahead and put the amendment on the bill. Members, we're voting to put amendment 6147 on the bill. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. The ayes have it. Sir, your bill is amended, and you're recognized for explanation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to Chairman Vaughn for his patience over the years, sir. We started on this last year. And I worry him about it every opportunity I get. This bill is in response to small businesses in one of my communities in Memphis. It happens to be Orange Mound, the historic Orange Mound community that asked for this. They want the same ability to determine their destiny going forward as businessmen and businesswomen that our downtown commission has. They want to be able to do things that they believe will enhance their ability to do business and to give back to the community. And they want to do it in a way that they set. And that's the essence of the bill. Mr. Chairman, we happen to have, I know we have one and maybe two individuals who were critical in helping to shape the nature of this legislation. And I would ask that George Boyington will be heard on this bill, if you could go out of session.
All right, we're going to go out of session, members. And I'd like to have George Bayington, if you can come up.
Boyington.
Oh, Boyington, okay. Mr. Boyington, if you can come up and just make sure that your microphone is on and state your name for the record, and you've got 3 minutes.
Thank you, Chairman. George Boyington, representing interests in Shelby County and on behalf of Shelby County government. We've been working with Representative Hardaway for a number of years on this proposal. Its most recent form coming up before you beginning last year. Representative Hardaway is correct. There is no requirement that the state fund it, but there, of course, is an ask that the state provide technical assistance and resources and things where they can. We have found a target area in Orange Mound, Tennessee, the oldest African-American owned subdivision in America. This bill, it differs from the normal industrial development board concept insofar as it's not about recruiting businesses. It's about sustaining and growing existing businesses. That's why the requirement exists that a business be operating within the jurisdiction for a period of not less than 5 years. And it's not about major industry as are the other industrial development boards. It's about neighborhood focused small businesses. That's why under $5 million in revenue and under 50 employees. It's about ground up foundational building. And of course, with industrial development boards and the way that they operate in lieu of incentive structure where their economic output is measured by what they bring to the jurisdiction. And that's how it's identified the type of incentive they would get. So it's an either or thing. They pay direct property taxes to the community, or they provide X number of jobs, X number of economic output, X number of sales and use taxes in other areas, and it's a even keel thing. The Memphis City Council has endorsed funding this body in terms of staffing and finding a location for it to rest and things like that. So it has the ability to get up off the ground today, and it can very well be the shot in the arm that Orange Mound and communities like it need to catalyze at home people who've been on the ground doing the work.
Thank you, Mr. Boyington, for talking with us. Members, do we have any questions? We're out of session for Mr. Boyington. If not, thank you very much. We appreciate that. And Representative Hardaway also had a Joe Greer listed on here. Is he here? Is he wanting to testify?
Mr. Chairman, he had car trouble. He's about 100 miles out.
I think we'll go ahead and move on without him, Representative.
If I may, he has a health institute in Orange Mound in the area, And he kind of was one of the initiators of this. His chosen profession is dentistry, but he's developed a comprehensive health institute that's situated in Orange Mound, and it's created jobs. It's an economic engine for Orange Mound, and that inspired him to look at how he can build up the businesses around him. And I might add, if I may, that because ECD informed me that we could not write legislation specifically for a community, Orange Mound is not written into the legislation by name, but it and other organizations, it and other communities that are economically distressed, that have the type of persons and citizens and support system that Orange Mound has, will be able to use this legislation to do the things that I believe will allow our people to achieve that guarantee of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness in particular. You've heard me say any number of times.
Representative Hardaway, let's go back in session now. Since we don't have anybody testifying, so members, we are back in session. Representative Hardaway, please continue. Yeah.
All right, you want me to start over, Mr. Chairman?
You're doing great. Just keep going.
But part of what I try to do is to bring balance in the way that I present legislation. And I'm a strong believer that education and economics are what determine how free you are in America today. Economics and education are going to determine where you live. Housing is going to determine your access to health care, the information that you have on how to better take care of yourselves. Everything that's important, the social determinants, are going to emanate from education and economics. So whether we're talking about the criminal justice system or whether we're talking about mental health care, all of that, this gives us a chance to approach it from the economic standpoint and bring that balance.
Okay. Well, sponsor, we appreciate that explanation. Chairman Bond, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Sponsor. So we have now put this thing into a position where it is a permissive bill for a local body, whether it be a county commission or a board of mayor and aldermen or city council, however, whatever form of government they have, that if they choose to do this and choose to pay for it, that they're enabled to do so. Is that where we are at this hour within the confines of this bill?
Sponsor, you recognized.
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, sir. Those were the directives I got from the chairman of the Commerce Committee, and that's what's represented in this language.
Chairman Bond.
Fair enough, sir. I'd listen to that guy, but thank you for that.
Chairman Zachary.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Now, Representative Hardaway, as you were talking and as you had your witness come up, we've served together a while. We don't agree on many issues, but you are a fantastic advocate for your district. You represent your district well. When you bring pieces of legislation like this that directly impact the people you represent and you listen to their concerns, just hearing you talk, you always do such a great job at representing your constituency and speaking on their behalf. All our districts are different, but you always have, and you always passionately speak up for them. So for that, I commend you for that. Thank you.
Representative Vital, you recognize.
Representative Hardaway, thank you for bringing this bill and advocating for your community. We've worked together on several different bills, and I'm just trying to understand the role that economic and community development as a state agency would play. I heard discussion about this being permissive, how it worked with specific counties to pay the cost. But as I read this, I understand that the cost would be borne by the Department of Economic and Community Development for up to 5 years. So I'm wondering how that all fits together. So would you?
Sponsor, you recognize.
Thank you. That was original bill language. The amended bill takes any mandatory participation, whether it's funding or other resources, out of the realm of ECD. With the amended version, ECD would contribute whatever it is that they deem would be beneficial, but it would be within existing resources and it would be voluntary.
I appreciate that explanation. I just wanted to clarify where the responsibility for cost would be, and thank you for clearing that up and make sure that statewide taxpayers' dollars and their budget was taken into accordance with the whole thing. Thank you.
Sponsor, you recognize.
Thank you, Chairman. And the cost, once again, will be borne by the local legislative bodies, and it is permissive.
Representative Burkhart, you recognize.
Thank you, Chairman. Does the ECD have any programs now like this for small businesses that the businesses in your community would fall under?
Sponsor, you recognize.
They have programs for small businesses. They don't have anything that is this kind of animal, is the best way to put it. The composition of how this will be put together will be from the local folks. What it will look like, taste like, look like, feel like, will be up to the local businesses. And they'll develop the best possible model that will work in their community. ECD has been wonderful in providing resources, providing funding, but when it comes to actually shaping the platform and developing the type of program, it's always come from top down. This will be from bottom up.
Anybody else have a question for the sponsor? Speaker Johnson, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative Hardaway, in your particular case, who would the governing body be? Would it be the county or the city?
Sponsor, you recognize.
Thank you for that question, Rep. Johnson. We have commitments from the city and the county. So our city council and our county commission have both signed off on this.
And there, to your knowledge, are there any programs that are available now for small businesses like you're referring to?
No, sir. And once again, this will be designed and shaped from bottom up as opposed to what we've done in the past, designing at the top and then trying to set it down and fit it on top of the businesses. This will be designed by the businesses for the business community in that area.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Members, do we have any other questions for the sponsor? And Representative Hardaway, you had a bill similar to this a couple of years ago that we didn't like, but this one is different, and you've made some changes in collaboration with the chairman of the committee. So it looks like you've worked a lot of the problems out of it. So members, without objection, we are voting to send House Bill 351 as amended to full commerce. All in favor say aye. All opposed say no. The ayes have it. Congratulations, Representative Hardaway. We'll see you next week in full commerce.
Thank you, sir. And thank you to Chairman Zachary for the kind words. And thank you to my chairman and friend for helping me to shape this legislation over the years. Okay. Thank you all.
All right, that brings us to item number 7 by our own committee member, Representative Thompson. That's House Bill 1814. We have a motion. We have a second. Representative Thompson, do you have an amendment for that?
Yes, it's code 15757, 15957.
That's what I'm showing as well. Members, do I have a motion and a second on the amendment? We have a motion. We have a second. Let's go ahead and put that amendment on the bill. Members, we're voting to put amendment drafting code 15957 on the bill. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. The ayes have it. Sponsor, you are recognized. We're back on the bill as amended.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee. HB 1814 makes a small change to the Landlord-Tenant Act. The current law requires a landlord or agent to furnish the contact name and address to the tenant in a rental agreement. This bill changes it to say that a lease must also include a portal system that's designed for landlord-tenant communication. These are primarily in larger apartment management companies and other rental companies. But if the landlord does not have such a system, then they must include, in addition to name and address, either a phone number or an email address for a maintenance contact. The reason for this is to help ensure that tenants have access to necessary contact information to request maintenance services that are required under the Landlord-Tenant Act, actually. And this won't affect the majority of landlords, property managers, and others. We found an increasing number of tenants who are unable to find the appropriate contact for these services. And, this is possibly more common these days due to more out-of-state investors buying properties, converting them to rental, but sometimes failing to provide service or a valid means of contact to their tenants. The bill will not solve all the problems, but will help many across the state. I have worked closely with the Tennessee Apartment Association and Tennessee Realtors on this bill, and both of these organizations are neutral on the bill. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Members, you've heard the explanation. Do we have any questions for the sponsor? If not, we are voting to send House Bill 1814 as amended to full commerce. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. The ayes have it. Congratulations,
Thank you,
Representative Thompson. We'll see you next week in full commerce.
Thank you, Chair and Committee.
All right, members, that brings us to item number 8. That is my bill, so I'm going to be sending that the gavel down to Chairman Vaughn.
Thank you, Chairman Boyd. You are recognized, sir, on House Bill 2567. We've got a motion and a 2576, 2,576.
And Mr. Chairman, I do have an amendment as well.
All right, sir. Is that 15133?
Yes, sir.
All right, super. We got a, let's put that on the bill since it makes the bill. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. Amendments attached. Let's talk about 2576 as amended.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members, if you haven't seen it on TV, you probably have met someone who has had an issue with a pool contractor. There seems to be a proliferation in the last couple of years of pool contractors that are starting a job and not finishing it, filing bankruptcy, and a lot of homeowners, and particularly in Middle Tennessee, are left with a hole in their backyard, and they're missing a lot of money, and there's no one to go back again. So I've had some conversations with contractors. I've had some conversations with the Department of Commerce and Insurance, and it seemed like probably the first step that we should take is to require these pool contractors to have a bond. And so a bond in the amount of the job that they're doing. That's what this bill seeks to do. Mr. Chairman, I'll take any questions.
All right. Anyone have any questions for the bill sponsor? I don't see any. So let's just vote this thing. All in favor of sending House Bill 2576 as amended on to full commerce, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. The ayes have it. You're on to commerce, sir, and the gavel is back to you. And if I could be recognized, sir.
Chairman Vaughn, you recognized.
I move for adjournment.
That's a proper motion. We have a second. Members, any bills not heard will be rolled to next Tuesday's calendar. This meeting is adjourned.